Hello, hello, hello. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress of Astrology, a look inside, coming to you with the astrological readings for Gemini for the month of February 2019, and it is now the 30th of January. I've got just a few days to get these messages out here to all of you people. And Geminis, I want to say, well, first of all, I'm sorry I've taken so long. I've got my last group of people that I'm working on right now, and you are actually the third to the last. So there's actually 3 more signs to go. And so I'm actually grateful that I'm doing this now. What I'm doing at this moment is just looking up just to make sure exactly where the planets are right now, this day, as I talk to you, because I want to make sure I have all the astrological information at my fingertips as I speak. A lot of times I do this and I'm pulling for the information, and I don't want to do that with Gemini, because Geminis are, well, you're information based, and so I want to make sure that I've got some information at least at my fingertips so I can tell you what the big days are for the month of 2019 in February. So the first thing I want to do is start out by saying at the beginning of the month, Venus is going to be going into Capricorn, because there is a great deal of emphasis that has been in Capricorn for you, Geminis. I must apologize to you Geminis ahead of time. The things that I say may or may not have anything to do with all of you. I know this, whatever I say, is going to apply to certain people. Yeah, and certain people that I know. But I know that it will apply to certain people who, especially if you have Gemini rising, yeah, if you have Gemini rising, this is really going to apply to you. But let me just go through and let's see what you guys can pick up. Take what you need, leave what you don't. I hope I say the right words to the right people. And I just want to go in with this and give you the information that you need. I've got my magic amethyst here because I want to give you Geminis the right information. That's what it is. And I'll just be honest with you, my soon-to-be ex-husband has Gemini rising. He has this setup. So as I look at this, I know I'm looking at, personal things. Things I don't want to know, actually. But I will go ahead with this. I was going to start with Capricorn, but no, I'm not. I'm going to go right to the heart of the problem and the right of the issue that I had with the guy I was with. And that is that Uranus has been hanging around that solar 12th house area for a while. And what it did was it went retrograde, right? It went retrograde like in early fall, I believe it was. And it went into, instead of it being in the 12th house, it went into the house of hopes and dreams and wishes, which is the natural house of Aquarius, which vibes and jives very well with Gemini. And so a lot of you guys went for the gusto. I mean, whatever, hopes and dreams and wishes. You might have come across something that you thought was your hope and dream and wish. And, or perhaps what you hoped and dreamed and wished for, you no longer want it when it went retrograde. You recanted or reneged on your obligation or what you desired. You said, I desire this thing. But when Uranus went retrograde, I think more than one reneged on that. They went backwards. And, because Uranus had officially gotten into your 12th house before it went retrograde. So it's like it went a little crazy, and then it went, that's it, I'm going to bounce. And a lot of you Geminis, I think, did this. Now, I don't know if it was just a Gemini rising types or if it affected like the Gemini moon types and the Gemini Venus types, you know, and the Gemini sun type. So I'm just throwing this out here because I have a personal situation where this occurred. I'm not sure if this even has anything to do with Capricorns at all, but I can tell you that I, as a Capricorn, have lost almost everyone around me that I loved, because almost everyone around me had Gemini or Gemini rising in their charts. Literally, my son or son-in-law, my daughter, and my husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, all had Gemini rising. I was the only one with Capricorn rising, but I have Aquarius in the first house, intercepted, which, you know, even her father was a Gemini. I attract Geminis. I love Geminis. They just don't always love me. And that's painful when you love them. You know, you keep bringing them into your life, but they keep letting you down or disappointing you. Now, my daughter has never let me down. Neither has my son-in-law. So I want to preface that. But it's just the fact that I'm bringing in that Gemini rising type into my life, that air type into my life. And I think what happened with a lot of Geminis, well, with a lot of people with this setup, or with Taurus influences, when that Uranus went retrograde in Taurus, a lot of people lost their damn mind. I have no other way to put it. You know, the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. And Uranus is the planet of erratic, sudden, out of the blue, inexplicable behavior. And it likes the excitement of causing, like, it's rebellious. That's a great word for Uranus. Rebellious, rebellion. And so I believe quite a number of Gemini rising types created a rebellion from fall to probably about now. Luckily for, well, I don't know if this is lucky either, because see, what's happening now is that Uranus is no longer retrograde. It is now going forward, which means some of you Geminis over the last month or so, or last few weeks, may have just decided, you know, you've awoken, like, whoa, what the F did I do? Shit. And you realize what you left in your wake during that Uranus retrograde. You left destruction in your wake. So here's the thing. Mars is pretty much right neck and neck with Uranus. I don't know how that is manifesting in reality for a lot of you guys right now with this Mars and Uranus situation, because Uranus is at 20 degrees and Uranus is at 28 degrees and Mars is at 20 degrees. Uranus goes slower than Mars. And so I'm almost sure that at some point it may overtake it. Now, Mars is, I'm almost positive it will, because Mars is going to be going into Taurus. And, well, so is Uranus. So it's definitely going to be sitting on it. I just want you guys to know that Mars-Uranus conjunction, well, it's craziness. And something suddenly out of the blue may occur when that Mars and Uranus are conjunct in Taurus. Also, that's your 12th house. That is the house of self-undoing. I've talked to several signs about the house of self-undoing. I have my sun technically in the 12th house, but it's on the ascendant, so I'm a little saved. But there are some people who have their planets firm in that 12th house. My husband had a stellium in the 12th house, and so I respect that the insanity ensued, and there was no, what do you do? Just be aware that this Mars-Uranus conjunction is on its way in your life in the 12th house of self-undoing. Don't, be careful of throwing away your marriages and your the things that matter to you, your homes, your jobs, Be careful of maybe partying too much, drinking too much, drugging too much, sexing too much, because Mars, sexual activity. but it's the 12th house, so it could be just in your mind too much, just like, and Uranus is there, the insanity. That's insanity. Please be aware that your mind could be working on some insanity issues. Excuse me. I just want you guys to be aware that what that is. You know, Mars, Uranus, conjunct in Taurus. Taurus is normally, you know, that stable sign, that stable area in everybody's chart. But everybody's going to have crazy Mars and Uranus somewhere in their chart. And for you, Geminis, it just happens to be in the 12th house of self-undoing. I'm partying too much. I've been drunk for days. If you've been drunk for days, stop it. Put that bottle down and get yourself a cup of coffee. Lord. If you've been cheating on your spouse, stop it. You're bringing in bad karma. 12th house is the house of karma. All you're doing is making more bad karma. Bad karma. Because the karma that you make in the 12th house is the kind of karma that follows you into the next lifetime, if you believe in it. And I do. I do. So be careful. And here's the thing, not to scare you guys, but you know, when Mars leaves Taurus, it's coming into where? Gemini. It's coming. And when it gets there, you guys are going to, you know, want to express yourself in a big way. So deal with whatever that craziness is in your subconscious mind. Purge, man. Purge it out. Purge it. And now I'm going to go to that Capricorn in the 8th house, okay? Because that 8th house is also the house of purging. Purge it. Okay? You got some bad vibes in there? Some bad juju? Purge it. Let it go. Let it go. Whatever it is that's got you in your 12th house, drinking and drugging and pilling, and sexing, whatever, running from the truth, let it go. If you gotta go see a therapist, go see a therapist. If you gotta go talk to clergy, go talk to clergy. It doesn't matter. Just do not hold this in. Do not let yourself self-implode with Mars and Uranus inside of your 12th house of self-imploding. Do not do that. It's not worth it. Now, here's the other thing. Back to the 8th. I keep going skirting around the 8th house, right? Because it's so much. I know once I get in there, I'm going to have to stay in there for a minute. So I'm skirting around it before I have to go. But, you know, the 8th house is the house of deep psychological, and I excuse my language, I'm sorry, I curse. Deep psychological shit. All your deep psychological shit is in the 8th house. Like whatever is like painful to you, maybe even 8th house. Fears even 8th house. Phobias probably 8th house or 12th house. I mean, we're dealing with those water houses right now. And we're dealing with earth signs in the water houses. It's just making mud. Okay? We've got Taurus in the 12th, Capricorn in the 8th, and Virgo in the 4th. And we're going to be talking about that Virgo in a minute. But here's the thing. That's mud. You really need to figure out your feelings. Because you're earth and you're supposed to be solid ground. Not sinking sand. Well, you're not earth, but the earth around you, you know, is creating sinking sand. So I need you to, you know, be aware of that. And Geminis, you guys are so good at going deep within. You guys are to think. You guys are you're thinking. I think this is why I'm taking my time trying to explain it so you understand it's more of a psychological thing than a thinking thing right now. Because you guys might be trying to think your way through it. And some things you can't think your way through. Like it may never make sense to you. And this is really kind of indicated too by the fact that you guys have Neptune transiting that 10th house. It's been there for a while. You guys are just confused. And I know, you know, because first of all, Neptune in Pisces is square Gemini. Oh, it's a friction. It's maybe even a little uncomfortable. It's sitting in your 10th house. You're becoming known for making bad decisions and being a little confused. People are wondering about you. Like, why are you making that decision? It's one of those things that people don't quite know. And this is actually going to come out. Things are going to come out a little bit later in the month. So back to the 8th house again. In the month of February, you're going to have Saturn, Pluto, and Venus in the 8th house. And they're all going to be within like striking distance of each other. Like really a very close little bundle in your 8th house. It's telling me that this is the time to use that bundle, especially with Venus there, adding that extra power. It's smoothing out, whatever that pain and hurt is, whatever that fear or phobia is. It maybe even opening you up so you can talk to people about it, because Venus is pleasant, right? It's a beneficial planet, and so because Mercury has just went out of Capricorn into it's in Aquarius. So, but I feel like you're still going to be able to talk to someone, because Mercury is going to be in Aquarius, and the new moon is going to be in Aquarius, and the sun is going to be in Aquarius on the 4th, right around the 4th. That's early in the month. And the 3rd, I think, is the day that Venus goes into Capricorn. So hopefully around that time of the new moon, that's it's going to be falling in your solar 9th house. Okay, so that new moon, it may be an indication of new beginnings, a brand new start, because it's new, right? It's all new. It's a new cycle no matter what. But it's happening in your 9th house of travel, but it could also be your 9th house of international communication, international travel, or even international publications, documents, special, even the 8th house, even the 8th house itself with Saturn there and Pluto. I mean, Saturn's very serious, responsible. So you guys could be dealing with a lot of things that deal with like documents, legal documents, contracts, annuities, and well, with all that emphasis, that's going to be in the 9th house. I mean, if you are going to, get a separation or a divorce, this might be the month it happens. I mean, that's 9th house. When I see that, I'm thinking, okay, that's the natural house that divorces usually occur in. And Jupiter is in Libra right now, so, or excuse me, in Sag, but it's in the house of Libra. Throws you off. I'm sorry, guys. It's in the 7th house, in other words. It's in Sagittarius, okay? It's at 20 degrees of Sag, but it's in the 7th house. So in my mind, when I see it in the 7th, right away I go, Libra. Okay, so that means marriage. Marriage has been the issue all year. I hope that you Geminis have held on to your hat, during a lot of this craziness with Uranus, and that you've held on to your marriages, because Jupiter is there. Yes, there might be an overabundance of opportunity for partnerships, but your best or highest good would have been working out and perfecting your own partnership instead of making many other partnerships around in a way, around the way. And I'm hoping that you guys, were faithful in your partnerships and not unfaithful in your partnerships, because that I could just see how that could have all been thrown to the wind. I mean, Uranus was in the house of hopes, dreams, and wishes. You guys just wanted what you wanted. All right. Okay, so Mercury is in Aquarius, and so that's the solar 9th house. I'm telling you, whatever you need to do that has to do with education, legal things, documents, travel, government, philosophy, like even altruism, like giving and helping, and international things, things that are dealing with things from afar, internationally, that could come up But yeah, just amazing. And Aquarius is a brilliant area, so it's all going to work out in a very intelligent, almost Mr. Spock kind of way. Not emotional, even though the sun is on the moon on the 4th. You know, it's not known for being overly emotional. So the 4th might be a little weird with the moon on the sun because it's calling for emotion. But beyond that, I think it should go smoothly with that 9th house emphasis with Mercury there. And then I believe, trying to see what day that was. I don't have the day here. But Mercury is going to be going into Pisces. I have the Mercury, is that 10 degrees? Wait a minute. I don't have that Mercury number here. I should look that up. Right now it's in Aquarius, so I don't even have that. Let me see something. Let me check. And I'll tell you what day it goes in. Mercury, okay, it was the 10th. Mercury enters on the 10th into Pisces. And that is actually, and Mars, by the way, enters Taurus on the 14th, in case you guys didn't know when that happens. Okay? And when it does, remember, on the 14th, that's when it goes into that 12th house I've been rambling about. Okay. All right, so about that Mercury in Pisces, that is up in that 10th house. That Mercury is going to be squaring early degree Geminis because it's, and don't forget, in the beginning of the month, well, it's not going to affect it too much. Okay, so we're fine. Okay, we're fine on that day. Because that's the 19th and this is the 10th. Oh, yeah, we should be fine. The other thing I didn't talk about was that you guys have Cancer in North Node in the 2nd house. You guys, I really hope that you're learning how to love. This is a good time to learn how to love. I mean, really love. I know a lot of Geminis are they think a lot. You know what I mean? You guys are thinkers. You guys and even your opposite Sag and Virgos, I always think are the big thinkers, and of course Aquarius. But it's time now. It's time for you to learn how to love. I mean, really, figure it out, because the North Node is it's in Cancer. It's in your 2nd house. Before you may not have known exactly or figured it out, but it's time now. And if you take the time to learn how to love, I think you might be able to figure it out. Or maybe you might figure out that you love someone that you didn't think you loved, or that someone loves you that you didn't think loved you. Either way, know that at some point, the North Node and Pluto, and the North Node and Saturn, and the North Node in Venus are going to oppose each other. It's inevitable. The North Node's at 26 degrees. I think it's on its way to 25 because it goes backwards. And Pluto's at 22. That's already striking distance already. So be aware of this. This is the 2nd and 8th house axis. It's sort of dealing with what you have to give and what others have to give to you. Like, have you been living a life where others have to give to you, give to you, give to you, give to you? Well, what the hell are you giving? Are you giving? This now, with this Cancer North Node there, if you've been in the mind and not in the heart, it might, especially with Neptune up in the 10th house in Pisces, it's making you feel. You're learning how to feel. And I hope you do. I hope you do figure out how to feel. Because Geminis are very thoughtful. They think, they're intellectual, but they don't always know how to feel. And if you think I'm playing around with that being your emphasis, on the 19th of February, there's going to be a full moon in Virgo. Okay? And it's happening at a very fateful degree. Well, it's not even actually a degree. It's 0.42 minutes. Okay? Not quite a full degree. But it's falling in your solar 4th house. And the sun is going to be opposite in your solar 10th house in Pisces. This is very thinking, feeling going on. Water on water. The moon's going to be in water in the 4th house. And even though it's Earth, you know, Virgo, but it's the 4th house. And then we've got Neptune up in the 10th. And now we're going to have the Sun up there. And Mercury. But this Sun up in the 10th in Pisces that day is going to be exactly opposed that moon in Virgo in your 4th house. To me, it's screaming out feelings. Oh, why do I always have to sing? Oh, here we go. Hold on. I'm channeling a song here. Feelings. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Feelings. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Feel you again in my heart. Maybe you will start feeling someone again in your heart. You know, I don't know why you stopped feeling them. You got Jupiter in the 7th house. You know, I hope you guys really did not mess up your marriage. This is such a great year. You could have had such beautiful love. Work on it, Geminis. Work on it. With Jupiter in the 7th house. Okay? I need you guys to understand that this is a time you really should be thinking about your partner. You should be really thinking about your partner. So I hope you are, and I hope you're building a good relationship, and that you are expressing your feelings, and that you are learning how to love, and that you're living out that North Node in the 2nd house in Cancer, which is, I believe, learning how to give from the heart. Learning how to give to others. And I believe allowing others to give to you. Okay? All right, you guys. This has been Capricorntigress of Astrology, a look inside, with the astrological report for Geminis for the month of February. Now, I hope that you take a moment to like and share and subscribe to our channel. And also, I am now on Patreon, so you can find me at patreon.com/Capricorntigress. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Astrology, a look inside. And I give free mini readings in our Facebook group, and you can get to that at facebook.com/groups/Astrology, a look inside. Oh, and then, of course, subscribe to the website at astrologyalookinside.com. Okay, Geminis, don't forget, feelings. Whoa, whoa, feel you. Whoa, whoa, have a happy Valentine's Day. Feel you again in my heart. It should be beautiful, oh Lord. Have a good one. Bye.